That yes, I would like to buy something.
Regardless of how hard life gets, take a break from the norm. Let's face life issues head on. From alcoholism to obesity, entertainment and lifestyle. Everything that matters. On Matters. Mondays to Fridays, 12 to 3 p.m. on Voice of the People, Abuja. Because your voice matters.
Good afternoon. I do hope that you're having a very beautiful, beautiful day. And if you're not, start doing something about it. Because regardless of the situations, you are in absolute control of how you feel and how your day goes. So how about we begin with a smile? I just noticed that your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth. Oh, yeah, drop it down. Drop it. Exactly. And breathe a little bit, drop your shoulders, let them rest, because you cannot be packing all that stress in your body and you're expecting your life to be going smoothly. Anyway, this is Matters. We discuss everything that pertains to your well-being as a Nigerian, everything from the world of politics to general health and wellness, lifestyle and entertainment. I'm Chinwe Blessing, ready to go through the journey of 3 hours with you. But just before we get ahead of ourselves, the first segment, my favorite segment. Okay, I have to stop saying that, right? I say that about every segment, but you get it. Let's go into world rounds. It's a global week of climate action. Yes, and you that are hearing me are very guilty of a lot of things. Today, I've come in to point the finger of justice at you. So don't even think of changing this dial because you're a responsible human being, are you not? Well, in this week, the world is uniting to address one of the most pressing issues of our time. Climate change. Personally, I grew up somewhere that used to be very cold. There were rumors that where I grew up used to have snow. Today, you can wear chiffon and sleeveless dresses and move around. Do you remember when rain didn't used to start falling until we were in June? But now, rain is falling by this part of the country. When? Exactly. Climate change and many other things. Well, I'm not the pro and I don't know everything about it, but I have with me two people in the studio that are going to talk to us about climate change, the journey to understanding, advocacy and hope, and how we can all understand climate change, the sustainability of it, the critical actions that need to be taken to secure a brighter and more sustainable future. We have only one home, and it's called Earth. What we do with it will determine whether our children will have a place to stay, to live in. And I'll just quickly introduce our guests. We have Blessing Ifemenam. She's in the house, looking very pretty. And I see a woman with a full face of makeup. I'm like, God, I need the grace. Touch my head. Let me be able to do this thing that people are doing. And if you see how fine she is, you want to see, go on YouTube. It's on you. She's there. See her very pretty face. And we also have a Jem Viada in the house. Hello. Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon, sorry.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Hello,
Hello,
good afternoon.
Blessing.
It's good to be here.
Well, it's good to have you. So let's hit the ground running, shall we? Let's talk about the key climate change issues and challenges that the world is facing currently. Let's dumb it down. A lot of people have been hearing about climate change, but we don't necessarily know what it means. Can we break it down?
Okay, should I go first? Okay, so we've been hearing climate change, and if you're on the streets, a lot of people, okay, it's a term we hear around in the streets, they don't really know what that means. So what really is climate change? And we see that climate change is like a shift in temperature and weather patterns. At times, this happens naturally, probably due to the activities of the sun, or maybe activities like volcanic eruption and all of that can cause a shift like the S to increase in temperature and maybe cause a shift in weather patterns. But since the 1800s, climate scientists have seen that most of the factors responsible for the Earth going warmer have been due to human activities. And what are these human activities? They come from the use of fossil fuels. Since the industrialization, we see humans burning fossil fuels like oil, like coal, like gas, and also industrial agriculture. So all of this emits what they call greenhouse gases into the environment. And these greenhouse gases, when they go up, they form like a blanket over the atmosphere and trap the heat which is produced from which we produce through our daily activities. So there's what they call the carbon footprint, and this carbon footprint is the amount of carbon dioxide produced by each individual organization or let's say community. So each of us as an individual, as an organization, as probably members of a community, we all play a part towards global warming, or we all have a footprint which we contribute towards global warming. So with the change happening, it's just a call to action that, okay, we need to start doing things differently. Because with these shifts and with these rising temperatures, we have seen a lot of devastating effects happen to, in our community. We are seeing erratic rain patterns, we are seeing droughts, we are seeing flooding. Just I think last week over the weekend, so parts of the country there are a lot of flooding. Sometime last week in Morocco we had an earthquake, and so we see all these patterns happening, and these are things that we didn't used to experience before. So it's a call to action that, okay, we need to sit up and we need to act now to prevent the total destruction of our earth.
Okay, now you mentioned footprints and whatnot. What role can individuals and communities, and let's say even businesses, play in reducing their own carbon footprint and contributing to the sustainability of Earth?
All right, picking it up from where Agent B stopped, when you talk about carbon footprint, every one of us is responsible, right? What individuals can do, the starting point is what we are doing now. We are creating awareness, because a lot of people don't even know what climate change is. Some people feel it's so technical, it's an illusion, they don't subscribe to some of these terms. But the starting point is what we are doing here, awareness creation through the media, whether social media or the mainstream media like we are doing now. Then how do you reduce your carbon footprint? You know, most times, thank God for COVID-19 that has also shown us that we can do things virtually. Prior before COVID-19, people feel that without having a face-to-face meetings, a face-to-face engagement, that things are not going to work, right? But with COVID-19 in 2020, we saw a lot of people started working virtually, and it's even now that people are trying to do the whole hybrid. But during COVID, you can stay at home and have meetings. And for us as an organization, during COVID, we are having a lot of meetings. So why do you have to travel to Lagos? Because even when you can sit in your home and interact with somebody in Lagos, except maybe it's so critical. So it's about reducing your carbon footprint, because you don't need to fly all the time. Because this is also about pollution. You can try to stay and connect to the world. Then again, beyond traveling, what are you even doing in your home as an individual? Do you leave the lights on all the time? Maybe I want to leave this room, instead of putting off the lights. You need to save energy, because it's also part of it. We're talking about plastics. When you go outside, you see plastics everywhere in the gutters, and some of these things, when rain falls, it also blocks the drainage. And again, when rain falls, it can even push them into the ocean, and you can see it's affecting the aquatic animals. Sometimes the fishes, we don't even have fishes anymore. If you look at these issues critically, it's also about how do you reduce. You need to reduce, you need to reuse, and also recycle. But then in Nigeria, I'm not sure it's now gradually that people have started having that culture of, we use a lot of plastics. And HMB also mentioned fossil fuel. We also know that Nigeria, we are very big. More than 50% of our revenues is coming from oil, and that is the petrol. But how do we begin to talk about alternative source of energy? the green energy, renewable energy. People are beginning to use solar systems, you know. You don't have to burn fuels all the time, because it also has a way of contributing to the impact. So it's a deliberate effort consciously by people when you really feel that you need to understand that these are the roles you are supposed to play as an individual in your little space. How do you even, in other developed climes, you see less cars on the road, right? But in Nigeria, everybody wants to drive because car is like a measure of who is rich, you know, yeah, a measure of wealth. But people can actually cycle. You can cycle to work. You can walk to work if your working places are not far, right? And then you can also do the whole greening things, even in your house. How do you green your environment? These are also some of the little things that people can do that will not actually cost so much money. But we don't have to sit down and begin to think, oh, these are going to cost a lot. It doesn't cost so much money. Every one of us has a role to play. Because I mean, if we don't save our earth today, we will live to regret it.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about cutting down trees. I'm one of the people that would see a tree going down and I would literally get upset. And I want to go and shake the people and be like, what are you doing? Can you just shed more light on how important it is for us to plant more trees than we bring down, and what it actually does for us as humans living in Earth?
Okay, yeah. For cutting down trees, you know, when it comes to our environment, we use a lot of trees for firewood, right? But people don't understand the implication. Our trees are actually going into extinction. There were times, I think in this Abuja, before there were times I visited Abuja, there were some green areas. When you are passing, especially during the Harmattan season, you see you can pass under those trees comfortably and get shelter or shade or something. But now in some of these areas, we don't even have those green areas anymore. We used to say, if you must cut down tree, you can cut, but try to plant, right? But people are also not imbibing those culture, right? When you are cutting down trees, it also has a lot of implication. People will say, but we need to cook, we need firewood, but then there's also other alternative sources of energy. We have also been advocating and promoting the clean cooking stove that people can actually use. It's usually very cheap. It's not so expensive. An average person or the local woman in the local community can actually use 1,000 and get that stove because it's also very clean. We have been doing a lot of tree planting exercises because we see that our trees are going away. But people are also not understanding. If you must cut down trees, you don't have to cut down trees. I have to raise my voice to say this. You don't have to cut down trees. But if you must cut down tree, I will say cut and plant 10. Yes, you should plant trees, because the whole green environment, you know, it has a way of beyond beautification. It also has a way of greening and making sure the atmosphere is serene, and also you get fresh air. We don't have fresh airs anymore. I'm sorry to say that, but our airs are contaminated. The air we breathe are polluted. But people don't actually know the implication of all of this. Maybe you can add something to that.
Yeah, okay. So I was actually thinking maybe we should take the conversation a bit into a research which was recently published, how the financial flows. And this was a research done by ActionAid, and it brought to light how since the Paris Agreement, which world leaders came together to agree that, okay, there's an emergency at hand, we need to shift towards a more renewable and sustainable energy. This agreement was signed in 2016, this is like 7 years after, but that research found out that there haven't been any, should I say, political will in terms of financing towards actually investing towards renewable energy and towards what we call agroecology. This is agriculture that works with nature, is friendly to the environment and all of that. But rather, we have seen more financing go towards fossil fuels and industrial agriculture. And we see that more expansion happened in what they call the global south. This is where we belong, the third world countries, and most of the funding came from the global north. The global north, these are the Americas, the Europes, the Russias, the world powers. They love to call themselves the first world countries. So a lot of funding from there through big banks, through government agencies, were channeled towards expanding fossil fuels and industrial agriculture in the global south, where we are. And we see that despite us in the world, the emission that is generated from this part of the world is below 25%. 75% of the world emission is done from the world powers and all of that. But we are hit the hardest by the impacts of this climate change through the droughts, the flooding, and all of that. So that research saw that since the Paris agreements, for every resources or for every financing that went towards renewable energy, fossil fuels and industrial agriculture got 20 times more financing. So we see that this fossil fuels and industrial agriculture that is causing the problem is actually getting more and more financing than the solutions to this problem. So how can we, if we want to say, okay, there's a problem at our hands, we need the governments and the world powers to should I say, not just talk but also take action towards tackling this crisis that we have at our hands. And they know the solution. They just need to be committed and maybe should I just say cut down on the search for profits and rather seek for the solutions so that we don't destroy our planet.
I mean, I was going to ask what government and policymakers can enact to, help, what kind of climate policies and regulations they could, put in place to address climate change. Do you have any ideas of policies that could be enacted that could help us have a greener earth?
Okay, in terms of the policies, they need to make sure, like, okay, for example, for every financing that goes towards fossil fuels, those companies should be held accountable in terms of making sure that whatever activity they are doing is not causing more damage to our environment. And if in the case of maybe an earthquake or anything, they take responsibility for their actions and ensure that people who are contributing less to the crisis don't get to suffer from the effects of their activities and all of that. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think it's more of a hearsay. I don't think there are actually concrete policies on ground and should I say,
they have. There are some policies. Nigeria, just like you said, we are party to the Paris Agreement, and we also have what is called the NDC, the Nationally Determined Contributions, that is talking about, it's part of the Paris Agreement, what percentage are we going to be contributing as a nation? I know Nigeria also have the Climate Change Act, but the problem here is implementation. For instance, Nigeria has an ecological fund, but the question is, so many people don't know so much about that ecological fund. Ecological fund is supposed to be a fund, is a pool of fund that supports people when there are climate change issues, like we're having flooding. We saw what happened in 2022 in over 12 states. Lives were lost, properties were lost, and all of that.
Just recently there was here in Abuja.
Yeah, so we have also started experiencing that in this year, 2023. So these are some of the funds that have been set up, but the whole issue when it comes to Nigeria will also be about implementation. So that is part of the engagement we are also doing with government and having advocacy and pushing that beyond signing into this agreement, beyond having these laws, we need to also begin to implement, because implementation is where the issue is. Just like HMB said, how do we ensure that the people who are not the polluters are not the ones that are suffering the effects? E.g., we have also, how do governments begin to ensure that these big polluters, that you tax them? Because it's also where it comes in. Instead of giving them tax holidays and all of that, we also need to tax, because if you go to Niger Delta, you will see what is happening with the impact of gas flaring. People don't breathe well again. People are dying. They don't even live. Some people don't live up to 50 years. And because of these issues. But then again, even the Petroleum Industry Act, the PIA, is also part of it, that is talking about what those IOCs, that's international oil companies, what they can do in terms of their contribution to ensure that some of these issues, but up to today, some of these oil companies are not living up to expectation. Again, because the government is also not doing what they are supposed to do. We have all of these things. We have Ministry of Agri, we have Ministry of Environment. But you see by the side, some of these governments are also supporting industrialization when it comes to agriculture. We are trying to move away from industrial agriculture. Can we leave inorganic fertilizers and go to organic? That is when we talk about agroecology. It's a sustainable way of farming. And you see that those local women that farm at the communities, when you teach them and support agroecology, they are able to come up with, food system that is able to we are having a very challenging times when it comes to food crisis in Nigeria. But then how do government put money into agroecology? Support agroecology instead of fertilizers, because these are also destroying the planet and also destroying the soil. So a lot of policies are out there, but then it's also about the political will when it comes to implementation.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay, now can you share some examples of successful climate action initiatives or projects that have made positive impact in whatever levels?
Okay.
So we've been working with a lot of youth movements, and just recently, through this month and last month, a lot of them have embarked in a lot of tree planting exercises around Abuja, Adamawa, and I think areas around the Middle Belt, really. And tree planting exercises, these were passionate youth. They used the opportunity to clear the refuge that were disposed in their environments, and they also planted trees and sensitized the public and their communities on the need for them to adopt tree planting approaches, and also cut down with the use of firewood and cutting down trees in their community. We supported them through this initiative. Through the years, there have been a lot of other initiatives performed by youths, and we support them through building their capacity to make sure they can carry out, so that they have the right knowledge and information as they carry out sensitization activities and all of that. I think early this year we embarked on the World Environmental Day, where we went round the hubs in Abuja to just clean and sensitize the public on on use of plastics and why they need to limit their use of plastic, and how they dispose waste, why they need to dispose waste in a proper manner so that they don't cause more harm to the environment.
Okay, so if anyone is listening right now and they really want to be part of projects like this, they want to contribute their own quota, plant trees where they can, or join in this kind of project, how do they become a part of it?
Okay, I will say first, you have to have the passion for your environment, the climate. You have to see the need and the desire to actually be the solution, and rather not the problem to the climate change experiencing the environment. And to take a step further of educating yourself, okay, what do I need to do? You can go and maybe do some research, and also adopt a project that, okay, maybe once every month, once every week, I'm going to maybe plant a tree and nurture this tree for the next 1 year. Usually most trees, after a year, if you can consistently nurture them and they grow, you don't need to, the burden is a bit reduced at your end. So you need to have that passion. You need to develop what they call green skills. You need to start thinking green, start acting green, start thinking about the environment in your actions, in your thoughts, so that in everything you do, you consider, okay, how much carbon am I emitting back into the environment, and how do I reduce this? Are my actions emitting more carbon or less carbon? So we just need to adopt those green skills and shall I say, run and work with it.
All right, great. I'm going to go on a quick commercial break. When we return, you're going to tell us what those green skills are, and we'll look at other issues. Stay with us.
Yeah, we have been serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at VOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. VOP TV, show up, speak up.
The award-winning pizza in the US is now here in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Romeo, the pizza champions, and cold berry ice cream. Delight in every school. Visit any of our outlets and feel the rich taste from the pizza champions and cold berry ice cream.
At number 4, Obomosho Street,
Area 8, Geriki, Abuja, or 3rd Avenue, Gwarinpa, Abuja, or Federal Housing Estate, Phase 2, Lube, Abuja. Call 0908-831-5906 or 0908-831-5908 or 0909-238-9861. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter at romeospizza.ng. Website www.romeospizza.ng. Romeo, the pizza champions. Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
Are you traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pickup and drop from the Lagos airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Believe me, believe me, believe me.
Hey guys, check this out.
Every night, stories develop. So no matter where or how you want to end your day, the Evening Rush is here, keeping you informed, safe, and educated. Take a deep dive into all the stories live from wherever you are. Let's talk news in a way that makes sense to you. The Evening Rush, weeknights from 6:15 p.m. only on VOP 96.1 FM Abuja.
Adam's Lounge. Oh yes, oh my country people. Adam's Lounge. Now where men they gather. They discuss different things with concern different men and different places and different times. And if I got for inside Adam's Lounge, now where men they focus on the issue that will affect a man. The location now for inside Adam's Lounge. Or you're making a waste time. Join the conversation for inside Voice of the People 96.1 FM Abuja, where the men they lounge, they gather, they discuss the things that will affect them. It just shell every Sunday from 8 o'clock go reach 10 o'clock. Adam's Lounge, the gathering of men. Adam's Lounge, the gathering of men.
Unity is strength. Without the unity, we ain't got nothing.
Guy, you know no family is perfect, right? We argue, we fight, we even stop talking to each other. But in the end, family is family. And it's family that raises boys and girls into men and women. Listen to Family Affair. Let's help raise good and capable men and women. It's a family affair. Sundays by 3 p.m. Exclusive to VOP 96.1 FM.
Glory to God and to the Lamb. Beauty to the throne of eternity.
Brotherhood of the Cross and Star presents the Everlasting Gospel Movement on Radio every Saturday, 6 to 7 p.m. on 96.1 FM.
Adoration, adoration, adoration to God forevermore.
It is time for spiritual rejuvenation, the mortification of the physical being. It's a whole new experience on radio. Tune in and be blessed. Thank you, Father.
Adoration, adoration.
Stay tuned for your daily dose of inspiration as we dive into the world of lifestyle and wellness. Get ready to elevate your mind, nourish your body, and ignite your spirit. It's time to unlock the secrets to living your best life. Join Formula U on Voice of the People 96.1 FM Abuja, Mondays to Fridays from 1 to 2 p.m.
The hustle never stops.
Kind of 4,000. I say 4,000. Okay.
The grind must continue.
It seems that, yes, I would like to buy something.
Regardless of how hard life gets, take a break from the norm. Let's face life issues head on. From alcoholism to obesity, entertainment and lifestyle.
Plastic surgery does still go wrong.
Everything that matters on Matters. Mondays to Fridays, 12 to 3 p.m. on Voice of the People, Abuja. Because your voice matters.
Thank you for staying with us. We've been having a conversation about, climate change. It is the Global Week of Climate Change Action, and we're just having conversations and bringing to light everything that we should know about it. I've been having this beautiful conversation with Ejem Biada and Blessing Efeminam, all from Action Aid Nigeria. Thank you for staying, guys. Okay, so I said when we come back, we're going to talk about the green skills people need to be conscious about and, include in their daily activities so that we can have a much better environment. Can you just throw a little light on what those are?
Okay, excuse me.
That's fine.
I think I'll first start by what are these green skills, the definition of green skills, and these are sets of knowledge, ability, and competencies which an individual needs to work in an environmentally sustainable and responsible way. So these are just basically, are people aware of renewable energy? How are they interacting, or how are they adopting this renewable energy like solar, like wind, like hydro, and other renewable technology which is available? Are they available of other sustainable agricultural practices like agroecology? Do they have the knowledge around this? Are they adopting agroecological practices in their farm? That's basically now speaking to farmers. And waste management, are they aware of some environmentally friendly and sustainable ways of disposing their waste? And how do they recycle, reuse, and reduce wastage in their daily practices? And also, are they aware of sustainable transportation services? For example, the use of electric vehicles in public transit and other urban planning. And water management. Are the water conservable? Is there enough water treatment and sustainable water use in the environment? And green financing. Is there adequate finances set aside for the adoption of these sustainable and environmentally friendly practices like solar, which I've mentioned earlier. So basically, these are the green skills, the knowledge, and how people adopt and also use these available skills.
Okay, great.
In their daily lives.
Oh, great. Okay, so quick one. What are the prospects rather for international cooperation and agreements in combating climate change, and how can they be strengthened? The prospects for international cooperation,
okay,
and agreements in combating climate change.
Okay, the thing is, since the Paris Agreement, of course, there have been a lot of COPs. That's the whole international conference on climate change. Of course, we are already preparing for COP27, which is going to